How's everyone doing?
All right, great.
Awesome. So, back in 1987, in fact, April of 1987 to be exact, I was living in an abandoned trailer behind a house on the corner of 40th Avenue and East 14th Street in Oakland, California.
Terrible thing.
Now,
Oh boy.
for those of you that are not familiar with the geography, back in the day, Oakland, California was considered in the top 10 of the most enjoyable, safest places to live in the world, right? No, it was
The
not
murder rate.
fun, okay? But basically, I was homeless. Now, let me ask you a question. Can you get much lower than homeless?
Homeless, homeless in
Dead.
Oakland.
Dead. Homeless in Oakland.
You can be dead. That's right. So, one of the things that I learned from that experience, and the reason I'm sharing it with you, is as long as you can stand up, you can move up. And so if we fast forward, September 24, 2010, the economy was very healthy back then, right? No, it was going to heck in a handbasket.
Right.
It was one of the worst years that we've had since the Great Depression. In fact, the Sacramento Business Journal that year could not find 100 companies for their top 100 fastest growing companies. It was that bad. They could only find 75. And my company was number 26 on that list. And prior to that, it was number 10 the year before. Now, why am I telling you this? Because simply this. They asked me, they said, you know what? How have you been able to go from being homeless to building a $1 million company from zero to $1 million in 3 years while the economy is collapsing? How did you do that? And I said, you know what? That's an interesting question. I'm going to tell you the answer. Here's what I told him. I said, you know what? I decided one day that my future was going to change. I found the best mentor I could find. I changed my association. I started reading some books, listening to some positive audio stuff, and basically doing exactly what my mentors told me to do, even when I didn't want to. And what ended up happening is I was able to change this right here, the mindset. Because one of the things I learned is it doesn't matter where you come from, it only matters where you're going to go. And so what ended up happening is Dave Vanny came to my life and he taught me that, you know what, read this book, listen to that book, watch this video, do this, do that. And then the most important thing is I found a great group of people. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you right now is we're October, middle of October, so we've got 10 and a half months behind us this year. We've got 2.5 more months to make it happen. And what happens is, this time of the year, most people do what? They start going into coasting mode, right? They go into coasting mode. They're like, you know what? It was supposed to be a good year, and it didn't really turn out that way. Or they rest on their laurels, and they've already achieved certain goals, and they're just going to coast for the rest of the year. And then what happens in January or February? They're like, oh my God, what do I do? Because they took their eye off the ball. And so let's talk about mindset, because I want to give you something that you can use right now, that you can take into the rest of this year, and guarantee that you finish this year strong. And guarantee that you start 2016 with a lot of momentum. Because at the end of the day, it's all about mindset. And one of the mindsets of a champion is that there's always room to grow. How many of you would agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. How many of you believe that you have potential inside of you right now to perform at a higher level than the level you've been performing at? All of us do. Okay. And one of the best stories I've ever heard about mindset is about the great Michael Jordan. And one of the things I love about Michael Jordan wasn't the fact that he was a great athlete. I mean, you have to be a great athlete just to play in the NBA. But what made Michael Jordan so great was his constant desire to always improve and get better. And one of the true stories about Michael Jordan is every single off season, he would pick one aspect of his game not 20, not 30, not 40, one single aspect of his game. He'd hire the best mentor he could find, the best trainer. He would literally tell them, you know what, you better force me way beyond where I'm capable of going. And the entire off season he would spend working on that one aspect. So one summer it was his left hand. So all he focused on the entire off season was his left hand. And then the next off season it was his strength training. And it was that discipline, it was that focus that made Michael Jordan great. But that's Michael Jordan. What about you and I? What is that one thing? And we all know what it is. What is that one thing we've been putting off doing all year long that we know that we can either add to our business or that we can subtract from our life? Maybe it's something we shouldn't be doing, or maybe it's something that we can modify or improve. What is that one thing that you can do over the next 2.5 months that if you really got focused would make the biggest difference in not only in your personal life but in your business?